15 births in the United States, a child is born with congenital heart defects, according to the Gale Encyclopedia 2011. Congenital heart defects are structural problems with the heart. These problems can be seen at birth. Most of the time, a doctor cannot say the reason why a congenital heart defect appears. Usually it's because of a mutation. Some people can live their entire life with a congenital heart defect without ever realizing it, and some have to get a checkup regularly for the rest of their life. Many people in the US have congenital heart defects ranging from barely noticeable, such as a heart murmur, to moderate, like an atrial septal defect, and then to severe and complex, like tetralogy of Fallot. And some of these heart defects are difficult to live with because of how complex they are. And I personally actually have a heart murmur, and when I was born I had an atrial septal defect. The first one I want to start off with is the least complex and the least severe, and that is the heart murmur. Heart murmur is a swishing sound where the heart turbulent or abnormal blood flow across the heart valve. So instead of the valve closing and opening like it's supposed to, it stays open a little bit and the blood that went through before goes back. And heart murmurs occur when one or more valves in the heart do not shut properly, so that some blood flows backward after each heartbeat, and that is according to Carol Ballard, 1997. And it usually isn't severe, and it usually doesn't cause any problems, but if it is severe enough, a doctor will have to do open heart surgery to get that fixed, but that usually doesn't happen at birth. That usually happens like as a young child. And as an adult, if it is bad enough that you have to have a surgery, you're going to have to go in for a few checkups, but other than that, a child and an adult can live their entire life without ever having to do anything about it. I mean, I swim, so... and then the next one is an atrial septal defect, and it is or also known as an ASD, and it is when blood flows between the atria of the heart, and it is actually a hole in the atria where the blood flows back and forth where it's not supposed to. So the oxidized and the unoxidized blood mixes, which it's not supposed to. And this one, yeah, it can be deadly, especially as a newborn, but I luckily had a small hole in my heart instead of the larger one, and mine healed as a child. I had to have a sonogram to make sure everything went fine, and if it didn't, then I was going to have open heart surgery. But usually these can be detected as as a newborn, and if it is bad enough to where the heart is too big that it cannot properly pump blood through the heart, then they're going to have to go into surgery and put a patch over that because it will cause issues. And if you do have to have the surgery, that means you can't do any strenuous activity as a kid, so you probably can't swim. So the next one and the most severe is tetralogy of Fallot, or TOF, and it is classically understood to involve 4 anatomical abnormalities of the heart, although only 3 of them are always present. And this consists of ventral septal defect, or VSD, and then an overriding aorta, which is a deposition of the aorta so that the aortic orifice sits astride the VSD and overrides the right ventricle. Then right ventricle hypertrophy and the pulmonary stenosis, and this is according to Perinatal Nursing Edition 4, 2014. A TOF occurs during the embryonic stage of development when some unknown factor influences the functioning of the heart at a cellular level, and this is also according to the same source. And it is always severe because of those 4 mixed heart defects, so they're going to have to do open heart surgery as a newborn, and as a kid you're never going to be able to do sports because of this heart defect. And as an adult, they're going to have to do constant checkups, like more than just once or twice a year. You're probably going to have to go in like once a month to make sure everything went fine and make sure that the heart surgery done as a newborn doesn't like break open or dissolve or anything like that. And also, as if you have TOF as a newborn, it is possible that not only would patches be needed, but it's possible that they would need a whole heart transplant because of how bad it is. And then there are plenty of people in the US with congenital heart defects. Some may have severe complex defect, and some may not even know they have a defect with their heart because of the defects range in so large of a severity. Out of all the people that have congenital heart defects, the people who can live with it and do everything they do are lucky, even though their heart is different. Out of Americans, 313.9 million people, 1 million of adults, have some sort of congenital heart defects, whether it is severe like TOF or simple and not noticeable like most heart.